I've never done this before. I'm not even really going to pay attention to what's going on. What's going on here. I'm just going to pay attention to what I'm doing out here. I feel like I'm live in two places. I'm actually a little bit nervous. So I'm live here and I'm live here with a 5-second delay. Thank you, Blake. I know. I play it every show. And what is up, right state? This is AM in the PM on WWSU 106.9 FM. This is AleXX, and that is with 2 X's. This is the week of the month that I talk about womanly stuff, womanly updates, just womanly topics in particular, I guess. And I've got quite a show coming for us all listening this afternoon. I have a few articles, a few quotes, and I was hoping to have a few guest stars. I'm not totally sure if that's going to happen yet, so I don't want to promise that altogether. But if I do, my phone's probably going to go off, and I'm going to get some messages and ideas and feedback from people that I was really looking forward to actually being on the air. But nonetheless, I'm here to bring you all about womanly stuff. All the things about womanly stuff, being one myself. Anyway, I know that for the past, I don't know, a few weeks, few months, that when I've had a show, it's been a little bit scattered, a little bit all over the place. That's because I do my planning just about a half hour before the show actually starts. But my planning sometimes happens outside of the studio, obviously. And it's the fact that lots of things that are going on in the world happen to fall around the same timeline that I'm doing shows about that similar theme. Now, the first week of the month, the AM and the PM, which is me and the title of this show, I talk about food and health. I'm the sushi queen. I just talk about food, which is kind of unfortunate when it's the snacking hour around 3 o'clock. And then the second week of the month, I'll talk about just really good things. It's kind of like what 92.9 does, where it's only good news. And then that show is called BAM, B-A-A-M, like BA Moments with Alex Moran over here. This is the third week of the month, and it's usually the ending show. And what's really great about, I mean, not just ending the month with a bunch of womanly updates, but next month for February and the following month for March, we get the opportunity of having a 4th week in the month. So I'm going to actually bring in a totally new show that isn't going to be available all the time. However, I don't even know why I said however, but that show is called The Cam Show. It's going to be Kicking It with Alex Moran, and I can't always decide if I want to make it Kicking It like we're going to chill out, Kicking It like talk about sports, sports, or Kicking It like I bring in guest stars and there would be a theme for that particular week. Now, not next week because there's no Camster next week, but this will be the ending show for the month of January. That's AleXX with 2 capital X's because I'm so clever with my puns for the names of my shows, even though the entire show is AM and the PM. The Cam show next month, I have already booked a band to come in and just talk about what they're doing. And you know, the band themselves, they're so talented. A few members themselves have been in other bands, so it's good that they have that multiple band-like experience. They know good musicians, and they know good talent, and they know raw talent. I feel like they will be very good definers of good talent versus raw talent. But there's like 5 of them, I believe. It's Eric, John, Michael, Cody, right? And Kramer. Kramer's the lead vocalist. It's pretty important that I put him in that list. But they're all going to come in this jam-packed, wonderful studio where there's only 3 working microphones, and we're going to talk about what they're doing. And that's the Cam show. They are so excited. They expressed so much excitement when I just pitched that idea on Friday when we were all hanging out. But it's going to be a really great show. I'm telling you guys this now so that you can tune in. They're a local band, and they're already getting a lot of revenue. They're getting a lot of publicity just being themselves. And they're being themselves in the band, and they're being themselves in their own lives. So to get them on here on the radio, they thought that was such a great idea, and they were so excited to do it, and I'm so excited to get to say, hey, I got them on the air. I'm AM in the PM. I got YVW, that's not the name of their band. They sometimes make acronyms for their band because it's just a long name, but there's a Y and a V and lots of storyline that goes with their band. Anyway, so yeah, that was a very long introduction of what the show's going to be about. It's AleXX, where I talk about womanly stuff. The thing I wanted to start the show off with is this quote from a man named William Golding. He was a British novelist, a playwright, and a poet, and he was from, like, way back when. Although he died in 93. He was born in 1911, according to this article/picture that I have in front of me. But he died in 93, which I get that 93 doesn't seem like so long ago, but at the same time, people that were born in 93 are like 24. And that still doesn't seem like that long ago, but even a textbook that is required for a class, one class that I'm taking this semester, their textbook is from 1993. Yet, most textbooks that are high in demand have been made anywhere from 2014 to now. So the fact that, I don't know, one of the textbooks that I have for my class is from 93, I just feel that a little off-putting. I like the idea of having really updated textbooks for science because so many breakthroughs can be made with a subject like that, especially related to communicating. However, with mathematics and English, there aren't too many new revolutions that can come up, other than the fact that lots of new vocabulary words get invented all the time. So anyway, this wonderful quote, just beginning the AleXX with 2 X's show, is by William Golding. He was a British novelist, a playwright, and a poet. He was from, like, the early 1900s, but apparently he died in 93. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, like, for your loss. I don't know how many people feel the loss of it. I'm just going to read the quote now. Anyway, I think women are foolish to pretend they are equal to men. This is him saying this. I'm going to start that over. William Golding said, I think women are foolish to pretend they are equal to men. They are far superior and always have been. Whatever you give a woman, she will make greater. If you give her, I'll say, manly liquid, she will give you a baby. If you give her a house, she will give you a home. If you give her groceries, she will give you a meal. If you give her a smile, she will give you her heart. She multiplies and enlarges what is given to her. So if you give her any crap, be ready to receive a ton of bad word that I can't say on the air. But what a quote. What a quote. I get that this is the Alexandra show, maybe. Even we can start calling it that, not just Alex with 2 X's. Because, hello, the double X, woman chromosome. But that's a quote that could be pretty off-putting, I'll admit. Because for a long time, all I've heard was women fighting for women's rights. International women voting for women's rights. Or not voting, fighting for women's rights. And I hear a quote like that, and not many people in my life have said that to me before. I mean, my stepdad has said it to me before, my mother said it to me before. This one girl that I haven't known for a long time, but used to know back in Virginia, she said it about, 2 weeks ago, that I don't know why we keep pretending that women need to be as good as men. I think it's just a way that we need to get recognized a bit more. lawfully and politically, otherwise, everything that a man does in his everyday life, I mean, I want to hope that it's to protect himself and define the character that he hopes to be his defining character. But if he's not doing it to make a life or a partner, I don't know much other purpose that a man is going to have. I mean, it's really attractive when a man is just, I even want to say the word monogamous, where he's not bragging about the fact that he has so many women at his disposal versus giving his all to one. And when I hear something like that, or I think about the fact that I find that very appealing, I'm having to go back in my head and say, do we not realize that a man being faithful to one person is supposed to be necessary, not rare? Like, you're supposed to be there for someone. And if you're claiming that it's someone that you care about, whatever gender you are or whatever gender you are interested in, you need to be giving your all to that one person. And when it comes to women and men, the typical, I even want to say old-fashioned style of love. I mean, I tried to explain it to my mom, how I think that not monogamous relationships, but heterosexual relationships are almost going out of style because there's so much welcoming of non-usual, I'm trying to think of the word here, but where more than just men and women are able to be with each other. There's so much knowledge around it. There's so much more welcoming about it. I tried to explain to my mom, I feel like heterosexual relationships are almost going to go out of style because it's not as welcomed or as, what's the word, just lifted up as someone that is open about who they are, and they get to be with someone that wasn't as open with who they are until you were. And my mom said, how are you going to repopulate the earth if men and women weren't together? I said, I'm not saying that it's going to go completely extinct. I'm just saying that it's so much more normal to know somebody that is in a relationship with the same gender as they have. That's what I'm saying, and I don't know if my mother completely understood, but that's okay. You don't have to always understand what I say. I just said it in a way of trusting and almost being courageous. Like, I'm trusting that you would listen to me and take whatever that you felt about what I said with you everywhere you go, and I was being courageous that I even said something in the first place. By the way, just a side note, I have a Facebook Live video going on right now. It's like twice the nervousness that's going on just regularly being behind a microphone. I feel like there's way more of an audience, not just people in their car or on their computer. Now it's people either on their phone and maybe their computer. And if you've got Facebook on your television, or you're able to hook up your computer to your television, I'm on the television too. Oh my gosh. It's so much, but it's so much greatness that this university, this radio station, and all of us are doing. We're talking about good things. Granted, okay, that was last week's radio show. I can't totally speak. I just had a bag of chips before I came on the air, so I am still hoping to continue my snacking, which obviously I'm not gonna. I need to get ready for the show. But hey, I'm gonna take a quick break. I believe something's playing in the background right now. I'm not sure what it is, though. Blood on the Mirror, Secret Arcade. Got it. Alrighty, you are listening to WWSU 106.9 FM. I am not able to speak. I'm AM in the PM, your host for the next hour, and actually by now it's only the next half hour. Wow, I spoke for a long time. There's actually not much of a shock there. I'm able to speak for a long time, even if it is by myself. I'm going to get back on the air in a little while, but I'm going to play kind of my own mix of music, my collection of just things that have been kind of stuck in my head lately. I appreciate everyone that's tuned in right now, and just as a reminder to what you have tuned into, this is WWSU 106.9 FM. I am your host. Okay, so that was something. So much stuttering. I've opened it twice, that's why. It's weird how I'm getting notifications on my laptop, even though it's right there. I can't wait to watch all of the notifications later on. for this video. Okay, thank God that wasn't on. Nailed it. Barely got that one. This remix is so much better than the original, literally. I wonder if we have anything on here. It would help if I spelled it correctly. Everything, the way this library is sorted is so weird, because I have to really think about the fact that sometimes liking one kind of music doesn't mean that it's going to be in the certain category that you think it is. Oh. I'll try. Got kind of quiet. Okay, so according to this, 21 Pilots is pop music. Sometimes I don't think about 21 Pilots as pop music. I don't want to play that. Yes, I want to delete the track. I don't know if Cody is still tuned in, but the band that I mentioned earlier, the You versus Yesterday, I said Y versus W. That was really stupid. But Cody is the bass player for it, and I have you... The lights went off. Anyway, I have You versus Yesterday, like their band saved, or their album saved on my Spotify account, and I want to play something. Is that a good idea or not? Cody, I don't know if you're watching or listening. You're watching here, you're listening here. Who even knows what someone's doing? I'm gonna go ahead and play something. I'll just play something of theirs. And... what a jump. Okay, so they had a show at Blind Bob's back before Christmas had even, I'll say Christmas had even started, but it was at the Blind Bob's in the Oregon district. It was on the 23rd, which is why it wasn't technically Christmas time in my eyes. And the entire audience was singing along with them. And they were, when the show was all done, they just gathered around and they were like, everyone was singing this. Everyone was singing along. I don't think I even play stuff from our library anymore. I just play stuff from my computer. I wonder what would happen if I just switched an angle of some kind. Can you even see it? The mic's right here. Nah, that should probably just go right over here. Ah! Whoa, okay. I'm gonna keep it right there. 2 minutes left. as well. I think the next song that's supposed to come up on this library is Holla Back Girl by Gwen Stefani, so I might just make that happen. These guys are so great. I love them so much. It's like there's only so much volume that you can have in this enclosed of a room, but oh man, I would turn this up all the way if I could. Kramer's so great. Oh my god. Hi, Ty. It's so great when people pass by this window and react to what you're doing. That is the best. They didn't react that warmly. Alright, sorry man, but I'm gonna try to, what's... Okay, pause that. And... I'm gonna slowly let that play out and pretend like I totally meant to do that. So there's 30 seconds of that left over. Man, that multiple personality disorder trailer of a movie is terrifying, especially after just finishing the chapter that mentioned it for a whole week. It's called Split. Oh man, it keeps playing after, well not after, but throughout all of these. I don't know, you just want to watch something on YouTube and then it comes up and I'm like, ah. Alright, we're going to talk about something kind of sad, by the way. I'm gonna say how well my transitions are actually gonna happen here. Oh, I can't do that. Yeah. Alrighty, right state. What's going on? This is AIM in the PM on WWSU 106.9 FM. I am back with the wonderful Gwen Stefani, if you had no idea who was in the background. This is the most classic girl power song probably of, I would say, did it come out in 2004? I know that I was like the baby of all YouTube and any computer usage because I was in the 4th grade. But unfortunately, I might have a big power-up song playing in the background right now, but because this is the AleXX show with 2 double X's, or just with a double X, I talk about womanly stuff that goes on with women, maybe some updates in scientific research, anything to that degree. And there was something that I had shared on Facebook a few weeks ago, maybe even months ago. I didn't check that directly. But I'm gonna share some legitimate tweets that are examples of how damaging emotional abuse can be. And I get that this isn't the greatest feel-good topic for something that I would even share with the world or something that someone maybe wants to hear, but it's gonna help at least be enlightening in some way. Like, maybe he doesn't hit you, but he won't let you go home or see your friends very often, or at all. Intimate partner abuse comes in many forms, and it's not strictly limited to physical violence. And there was this Twitter hashtag that was going around, and it was, maybe he doesn't hit you, but. And while the issue of intimate partner violence is a pervasive public health issue, so too is the toll taken on those who are emotionally abused. And according to the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, it is important to note that domestic violence does not always manifest as physical abuse. Emotional and psychological abuse can often be just as extreme as physical violence, and the lack of physical violence does not mean the abuser is any less dangerous to the victim, nor does it mean that the victim is any less trapped by the abuse. Earlier this month, writer and artist Zahara Kelly used Twitter to publicly share her experience, and the experience of other women in her life with emotional abuse, and she used the hashtag, maybe he doesn't hit you, but blank. And it said, maybe he doesn't hit you, but through a huge, raging, weeks-long, miserable fit because you cut your hair without his permission. The initial tweets were about me and people close to me, Kelly told the Huffington Post, which, okay, I'm just going to say right now, the Huffington Post isn't exactly the greatest source to find realistic information and realistic opinions. And she said that abuse culture is something most women experience, and at higher rates for women of color like me, but we get very little support for it and are rarely equipped to suss it out. The tweet and its hashtag struck a major nerve and has since sparked a far-reaching discussion on Twitter. Hundreds of women have used this hashtag to share their own experience and educate one another about the many ways abuse can manifest. So I'm going to read out loud some of these maybe he doesn't hit you tweets, and I'm sorry if this is going to strike a nerve with anybody. This might be triggering words for people that are listening in their car or listening out here in the Wright State hallway, but it's important to address it. And I like to be the person that says to themselves, you know, maybe it's not my place, but I'm going to say it. And it is my place to say it. I'm a woman. I've been through emotional abuse. I've been through physical abuse. I've had my own share of womanly struggles and my own share of personal struggles. And now I'm going to read some that, even if they felt personal before, this Twitter hashtag kind of proves that they're not just you. It's not just you. So the first one, maybe he doesn't hit you, but he won't let you go home or see your friends very often, or at all. That was the first one that I shared at the beginning of this. That was also the cover picture for this entire article. Maybe he doesn't hit you, but he compares you to other women, criticizes your body, and constantly tells you you aren't doing enough for him. So my personal reaction to that one in particular, which I'm probably going to have a lot of these, I'm just telling you now, but that tweet in particular reminds me of someone that recently got married within, I would say, oh man, they got married 4 years ago. It doesn't feel like 4 years ago they got married. But 4 years ago, this really great couple, I knew the man, I didn't know the woman, but they are really great together. The man said to me, I don't compare Amy to other women. I compare other women to Amy because she is my everything. She is my wife. She is my light. She is my path. And she is my everything. And I don't need to be comparing her anyway. And I remember I heard that and I went, okay, you shouldn't be comparing anyway. But if you're, I guess, gonna compare it all, I guess it's good that you're comparing other women to your wife instead of being, why can't you be like that? Why can't you be like that? It's like, you married me. You got a package deal. And odds are, I've said this before, I worked a long time to be who I am and be comfortable with who I am. And odds are, it's gonna change in the next year or, 50. And it's kind of scary to think that if I got married now or I got in a big relationship or a significant relationship, not even a big one, just a significant one with someone else, it's scary to think that you might not be with the same version of that person throughout the years that you're dating. It's a little terrifying. Okay, the next one, maybe he doesn't hit you, but he says you should be grateful he doesn't. That one threw me. Like, what the actual? That's I don't have too much of a reaction other than what the actual and not being allowed to swear on the air. Oh man, maybe he doesn't hit you, but he makes sure you believe that you're too broken or damaged to be wanted by anyone else. That's a very obvious sign of an emotionally abusive relationship. That's not good. That might be one of the top 5 worst, and there are 17 examples here of emotional abuse. Maybe he doesn't hit you, but he belittles your mental illness and makes you feel terrible about things you cannot control. Okay, picking fun is one thing, and kind of playing off as something that somebody does all the time is one thing. whether it's a certain level of burning, roasting, you might set someone on fire with your words. And absolutely, Story of a Girl is playing. What a great what a great background song for a topic like this. Alrighty. The next tweet is, maybe he doesn't hit you, but he steals and hides your medication. I've never come in contact with anything like that, but that's definitely something drastic. That's not okay, especially if you're already in a privileged area where you have access to medications for your mental health and mentality. The next tweet, maybe he doesn't hit you, but he threatens to kill himself when you muster up the strength to leave, so you stay and are manipulated even more. Okay, this is the time where I wish that I had someone else on the air that could provide a comeback or an idea or just a collaborative solution, because I can only do so many collaborative solutions on my own without hearing the perspective of someone else, especially if they've had the experience of something like that. That's horrible. I've sadly known girls that were like that threatened to kill themselves if their boyfriend left, and the boyfriend felt obligated to stay because it's like, if I end this relationship, she will kill herself and it will be my fault. Well, as a totally almost unrelated connection to that, this week I'm supposed to do a pilot discussion. That pilot is the online way that you check your homework and your grades and interact with your professors for Right State. I'm supposed to do a pilot discussion this week about gun control. Now, I don't know a lot about gun control. I don't have a lot of views on gun control. And if I do, I keep them to myself. I'm doing my best to keep almost any opinion that I have on something kind of in my head, because my goal as a person is to be as neutral as possible. Now, when it comes to something like that, threatening to kill yourself because someone else isn't satisfying you to the most optimum level of yours, the easiest way is to just talk it out and make some sort of structured agreement. That's what I have as my collaborative solution off of that. But the greatest opinion that I've ever made about gun control was that, the gun sits there. The gun sits there on the table until you make a decision. And it's such a topic. I don't always have enough information to go off of someone else's opinion. I love hearing the opinions of others, and I love hearing how people can look at things, but when it comes to an emotionally abusive relationship, and you are threatening to end your life because you can't be with someone else, or someone else can't be with you, that really is mental abuse. I don't have many other conclusions to make other than that's not okay. The next emotionally abusive tweet is, maybe he doesn't hit you, but instead he isolates you and destroys all of your platonic relationships, so he's all you have. Now, maybe this is too much information. I don't really care by now, because I'm already talking about very racy and out there, not always tea time conversation topics already. But my father was like that. He kind of kept my mother to himself so that my mom couldn't go out and have her girlfriend time and her work friends time. And I remember when I was a kid and they got divorced and it was just me in the house, it was kind of hard. I wasn't allowed to go over to sleepovers. A little girl needs to go over to sleepovers. She doesn't need to keep another man company, especially when that man is a grown adult. So the next emotionally abusive tweet is, maybe he doesn't hit you, but he threatens your financial security, undermines your authority, and constantly tells you you're nothing without him. So I've never been in that kind of situation, but that's very, these are getting more drastic the more I go down this list. The next one, maybe he doesn't hit you, but he tells you what friends you're allowed to have. Okay, I get that guys get jealous. I get that they do. They might just be more obvious about it than women are. But that's crossing the line, especially when it comes to women. Like, oh, you can't be friends with her. Why can't I be friends with her? There are so many memes about, my boyfriend says I can't do this, my boyfriend doesn't let me do this, my boyfriend says I can't do this. And we read those and we're in our head kind of saying, congratulations on your third parent. You can do what you want. Just be open about what you're doing. The next tweet is, maybe he doesn't hit you, but he will call you no less than 40 times when you choose not to answer the phone to avoid a lecture or argument. Okay, if you're trying to avoid a lecture or an argument, it's probably more than it's more than an abusive problem there, because you're avoiding instead of going up there and addressing what needs to be addressed. The calling 40 times is what makes this an abusive tactic. But, I mean, the tweet's right. It's not okay. It's not okay to just call someone 40 times, especially leaving horrible voicemails and yelling at the person. The next tweet, not hopefully, but thankfully we're getting nearer to the end of the list. The next emotionally abusive tweet is, maybe he doesn't hit you, but he screams at you even if you did nothing wrong. Okay, that relates to the 40 calls and the horrible voicemails. And you know what? As long as you know that you didn't do anything wrong, you got to stand your ground. And I encourage all the women that are going through emotional abusive relationships to stand their ground, because I know they're hard. And we all want to help you, and we have to get the chance to help you if you will open up about what's going on. But if a guy is screaming at you in public or in private, either way, it's not okay. You need to figure out ways to raise your words, not your voice. That was a quote. That's literally a quote. If you're going to make a point in whatever you have to say, raise your words, not your voice, for it is rain that grows flowers, not thunder. And I'm going to turn that song off. I don't even know why it's on our music library. It's Love Game by Lady Gaga. I get that I'm already talking about a little bit of racy topics, but let's not put that in the background. All right, the next emotionally abusive tweet is, maybe he doesn't hit you, but he makes you believe that you're too broken or ugly or useless to be wanted by anyone else besides him. Now, I've sadly seen posts on Tumblr that are like this. Once you have a relationship that is so significant to you and your experiences and your heart, just the vulnerability and the growing and everything, and then it ends, and you think to yourself, I'll never love again. I will never be with anyone else. I'll never be attracted to anyone else. I'll never be attractive to anyone else. But a person that is making you believe that while you're in the relationship isn't acceptable. It's not acceptable to feel like you have nothing to offer, especially when you're in a situation where you're kind of expected to offer people other things. Not expect one person to offer you that thing, but mutually you give and take to each other. Someone that is telling you that you're not good enough for me, or you'll never be this for me, you can't do this well enough, you're not going to ever be wanted once I leave here. It's like, whoa, if I left here right now and I had a good head on my shoulders and I really believed it, I don't want to be around you anyway. If you really think that no one else is going to want me, I think the same thing about you once you say that. Because why would you say that to someone that you care about? If you care about them and you're trying to make them stay, make them feel wanted to stay. That's not the way to make them feel wanted to stay. That's the way to make them feel unsure about what they're able to provide. That's a whole new level of insecurity that someone is going to feel totally outside of the relationship that you are in. All right, the next emotionally abusive tweet is, maybe he doesn't hit you, but he criticized you every day, compared you to better women, and told you you'd never look good enough. Okay, that's physically look good enough, and also you would never be good enough. A lot of these tweets are sadly very similar once you get down to the root of it. It's looks, I'll say like perseverance, and I almost want to say solidarity, or kind of the fact that isolation is so important. I get that you're in a monogamous relationship with one other person, but to make it stay, you have to be comfortable with the position that you have in that relationship. Because if you're not comfortable, that's when you start playing off of the insecurities that you actually have. That's the most fascinating thing about people that are unsure about how they feel about themselves, or unsure about what they're able to give to the world, is they feel it themselves, and then they go out of their way to make sure that anybody but them feels that way. But they're doing it with their words. That's not raising your words versus raising your voice. But It's just not okay. I'm really sick of it. I even said that last semester. I would hear all these things on the news about horrible crimes that were happening in places that people got hurt or someone got in a fight, and I actually like straight faced this, and I said it to my engaged citizenship professor. I've grown bored. I hear it all the time. I know it's coming. I've grown bored of bad people. That's probably one of the reasons why good people are so revolutionary. So revolutionary to meet someone that is kind and intelligent and really fun and just doesn't think much of what you're doing. Like, they don't make it out of something that is totally different than it was supposed to be. And I've grown bored of bad people. I want to help the people that have been beaten down by those bad people, no doubt. But I'm just bored of hearing all of the bad things that are happening in the world. Because if we went out of our way to make all the good happen in the same proportion, if not more ratio, whatever the word is, of all the bad stuff that is happening, shocker here, but we'd be way better off. The last emotionally abusive tweet, because frankly, I'm getting a little bit drained and nervous, like sweaty nervous, just talking about this. I can see all the reactions of people walking across the Wright State hallway, too, because this is such a weird topic for someone to be talking about on the radio. But maybe he doesn't hit you, but you need his approval for everything, and he treats you like property, not a person. So, being treated like property. The most literal way that I have ever seen or experienced a woman being treated like property was literally in an episode of Gossip Girl. But it was in the most drastic way I think I've ever seen, which was Chuck trading the Hotel Empire property for Blair. So it was like he was selling her so that he could buy property from another man. And that is, I mean, it's not acceptable, period. But when it comes to being treated like property, that goes to the deepest roots of physical acceptance, and you are my toy, you are my property, and I'm not something on the shelf from Toys R Us. I am your equal. I'm the person that you're gonna take on the world with, aren't I? Aren't you and I gonna like go out there and like make really good things in the world, or just make really good things with our life? Aren't we gonna do that? I think that was part of our plan. I think that was part of the plan for my life, at least. I don't know what I was put on this earth to do, but I know I wasn't put on this earth to be demeaned and belittled by someone that I'm kissing. And emotionally abusive relationships. It's not that I'm going to grow bored of those, but I'm going to hear about them happening and just go way beyond that meme about congratulations on your third parent to say, stand up for yourself. And if you won't, then I will be right by your side when you are going to maturely propose, hey, let's change this because I feel this way when you do this. It's so cool to maturely communicate the things that are on your mind. Did you know you could do that? Did you know that when things aren't going especially right, you could address it and say, hey, I noticed that this happened. I felt like this when that happened. Can we kind of change this up a little bit? And especially when it comes to your partner or someone that you're planning on taking the world on with, it's kind of necessary. I'm going to finish up this song here. It's called Blurry by Fuddle of Mud. That's with 2 Ds for both of them. Fuddle of Mud. I've never heard that word before. Fuddle. It's kind of interesting. And then afterwards, I'm going to play just a few more songs from my personal library. Maybe I'll play a little bit more of You Versus Yesterday. I'm so excited for them to be on the show next month. The Cam Show, Kicking It with Alex Moran. They're going to get to talk about their band and what they're doing. And I know they're going on a tour soon, and I probably just ruined the secret. We can't talk too much more about it because it's their band. It's not my band. I just happen to be friends with them. I want to appreciate everyone tuning in for that probably triggering message where I talked about emotionally abusive relationships. That was kind of hard for me to even talk about. I can only imagine what it was like for anybody listening. I want to apologize if anybody felt uncomfortable listening, but I don't want to apologize at the fact that I said something, because sometimes the things that need most speaking about don't get spoken about, and I like to be that person anyway. Deep breath, Alex. Deep, deep, deep breath. You are listening to WWSU 106.9 FM. I am your host, AM in the PM. This has been AleXX with 2 X's, because we only talk about womanly stuff on this show, or at least this week's show. Oh my God. Oh my god, that was... Oh, I have makeup on my face. I don't want to totally ruin it, but that was hard. That was very difficult for me to talk about. I could see these people walking back and forth, and they were, like, pointing at me, and oh, god. I don't want to get the station in trouble, but I was just reading something that was an article. It's kind of weird to continue speaking, even though it's not, into the microphone. The next thing I want to play is this one. And Maxwell's coming in. Hey, man.
You're doing great.
Thank you. Did you listen
Yeah.
to most of it?
I listened to I got out of class.
When was that?
I got at 3:25.
Okay. Look, what I was just talking about was really hard. There was three guys that were passing, and they were, like, squinting at me and, like, pointing at me. I don't want to get the station in trouble, but man, oh man, I always appreciate you listening. I appreciate it very much. I have 11 seconds on this next song. I'm Facebook Living this whole thing, by the way. I've never done that.
Look.
Thank you. Maxwell is so great. I'll be right back. But now it's like, okay, I want to play this song today. It's like you're blowing up my phone and you're driving it to the ceiling. There's no need for screaming. I just want to play kind of a long song after this. Man. Huh? Oh my god, you scared me. No one else is after this? Cool. Thanks, man. Man, if Brandon ever tuned in, Scar Tissue by Red Hot Chili Peppers is coming up next, and he was fangirling over them a few weeks ago. It was just so funny. I'm not gonna play that really long song. I'm just gonna put on like one more and then get out of here probably. Maybe Scar Tissue's not gonna play. Oops. Hey guys, it is AM in the PM on WWSU 106.9 FM. I want to thank everybody for listening to the show today. It was quite a killer. Maybe not in a completely good way, but I feel proud of what I talked about today. I just wanted to take a second and thank everybody for whatever time period that you tuned in today. This has been Alex with AM and the PM, myself, on WWSU 106.9 FM. Stay tuned. Don't come back for me. Who do you think you are? I hear you're asking all around. All the notifications of this show. Thank you to everyone that reacted. I appreciate you guys more than my words are able to really make. I can feel my ears getting hot. I just want to keep the video going until the end of this song. Oh my god, Brendan got a haircut. Brendan just passed. This is also such a beautiful cover. I don't know if anybody has really heard this before. It's a 21 Pilots covering Jar of Hearts, originally by Christina Perri. Listen to this. Alright, I just want to thank everybody that tuned in today. I've never done a Facebook Live, especially not at the same... Well, no, I've done Facebook Live before. I've never done a Facebook Live while I was doing a radio show. And, I mean, it was an experiment. It was kind of nerve-wracking experiment, but it was really fun. I just wanted to say thank you. So, let me just watch this thing and see what the actual reactions were, because I was doing this. I wasn't paying attention to what was happening. Man, this could almost be like my YouTube video. Like a two birds, one stone. A radio show and a YouTube video. Again, I just want to thank everybody for watching my Facebook Live video / tuning into it. Bye, everyone. Finished by...